All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I know you guys like, what the hell you been? All right. Yeah, I know, right? It's been a minute, guys. Been busy. Also, been sick. Um, Saturn hit my sixth house, so you know how that go. You're gonna get sick. I mean, some people do, depending on your sixth house, cuss. But when a planet hits the cusp of a house, like the sixth house, plus if it's a malefic planet, yeah, you're gonna have some type of event occur. So, but not here to talk about me. You're here to talk about the elephant in the room, and we're talking about Cardi B and Offset. All right, so we got to talk about that elephant in the room. We have to kind of address what's been kind of going on with them from an astrological perspective. Okay. Good thing is I got Cardi B's birthday. As you can see, she was born October 11th, 1992 at 6:10 Eastern Daylight Time. So we do have a birth time. That's a good thing. Now, Offset, that's a different story. We do not have his birth time. Of course, we do have his birthday. I'm not about to rectify the chart. And also, let's make a note of this. It is Mercury retrograde, so you might have technical difficulties. I'm going to miss some stuff. So we're going to redo. That's what retrogrades are. We redo things, okay? We repeat things during a retrograde. So it is a retrograde right now. So, if things are missed, hey, blame it on the retrograde, all right? Because things will be missed probably in this video, but we're going to go back and review them. That's what retrograde is all about. Reviews, repeats. So after the retrograde is over, once Mercury goes to reg, we're going to come back to Cardi B and Offset and look at some of the things that we missed. All right. So I'm going to come back with another video with Cardi B and Offset. But as of right now, this is the initial. So we're going to get started on this. All right. So first off, let's take a look at the wedding date. Of course, we always do this, don't we, guys? We have to look at the ceremony because, again, when people get married under the wrong day, the planetary alignments, they don't coincide with what the event is all about. And the energy is just detrimental. So we're going to take a look at their wedding day and how the planetary alignments produce what they're going through right now. All right. So let's take a look at the planetary alignments right now for their wedding day. Now it's said that they tied the knot on September 20th, 2017. Of course, it's Eastern Daylight Time. It was in Atlanta. I just threw 2:00 up there. That's probably not the time, but it doesn't even matter. What matters is the planetary alignments. That's what matters. So let's just take a look at their wedding day. Now, what's the first thing to pop out? I know. I'm looking at it right here. Look at Venus. Venus is right here. Okay. Now, Venus is in what? Virgo. All right. That's number one. It's in Virgo. All right. Venus is in its fall in Virgo. So that right there, just right off the bat, was a bad day for them to get married on. All right. So, when you got a planet in its fall, it's not in a good place. You never want to start a relationship or get married or get engaged when Venus is in Virgo. Okay. Because it's in its fall. It's very debilitated. Not only that, it's even debilitated even more because it's at what? 0 degrees. And what do we say about critical degrees when something's at 0 degrees, 29 degrees? Those are critical degrees. Something at 0 degrees is what? Premature. So Venus rules love, right? So they're starting this venture down this road that they know nothing about. When something's at 0 degrees, it doesn't know anything. It's zero, right? It's like an infant. So that right there debilitated the planet even more. All right. All right, so that so they didn't get married under a really good planetary alignment. I mean, if they would have waited to get married, it probably would have been a little bit more fruitful. But just with that alone, it's just kind of messed up. Also, the longevity. Of course, when they got married, the sun was at 27 degrees of Virgo. Okay, what rules time? Saturn, right? Saturn rules time, longevity. Look at Saturn right here. It's at 21 degrees of Sagittarius. It's completely, well, it's a separating aspect because the sun is separating from Saturn, but as you know, it still has some type of power. It's losing its power, but the longevity is not there. That's a square. Okay, so Saturn is squaring the sun. It's a malefic planet. It's a restrictive planet. So it restricted the time that they're going to have together during the marriage. Okay. So, that's not a good thing as well. I mean, it's just not. So, and also, of course, we have Lilith. It's in Sag, and Lilith has the power to what? Either take away or give. So it's taking away the sun's power. Okay. Now Virgo wants everything perfect, okay? Like Venus and Virgo, that it appears that they had the perfect relationship, a little bit, all right, from the outside sometimes, but in reality, they just did not, all right. Now Juno, of course, rules marriages and relationships. It is at 4 degrees of Capricorn, all right. Now that's squared the moon, okay, on that day. Now, I'm sure the moon was probably at either 4 degrees, 3 degrees, 2 degrees. Either way, it was a square. So that's not good as well because the sun and the moon, that's one of the lights, okay? So that has a lot of bearing on relationships. Now, if you look at Neptune, of course, Neptune is in um, Pisces at the time, like it was. It's retrograde. As you know, Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. It's completely squaring Mercury. Okay, so the whole thinking about love is like, okay, it's kind of diluted in a way. All right. So, and of course, the nodes were sitting there as well. Um, they did have some, semi good aspects to go along with, though. Okay. Jupiter, for example, Jupiter's in Libra, 25 degrees of Libra. It's actually has a nice little trine to the south node, so that's okay. But other than that, you know, it's just a bad day. Then, Jupiter rules luck. Okay, it's in Libra, which is Venus ruled, right? So you would think they're gonna have luck in the relationship. However, it is in complete opposition of what? Uranus. What does Uranus rule? Infidelity. Okay, so here we go. All right. Look at, we're already having some technical difficulties. As you can see, you got you got the blurry stuff going on. All right, that's what happens during the retrograde. You have different type of computer glitches and all that stuff. Okay, so you're gonna have that. Hopefully, it's clear now. So, but yeah, if you're looking at that, Uranus, rules infidelity. So obviously they're not going to have luck with, loyalty, um, because it's in opposition of Uranus. So we know it was a bad day for them to get married. So we do know that. So let's just take a look at the individual charts just for a second. Um, Now we're gonna look at Cardi B's chart first, because of course we have a birth time, which is good. Now I want to point something out about her and her chart, because it kind of falls into their relationship. Okay, how she is, her temperament and stuff like that, and why she stayed when she should have left, things of that nature. Okay, so just first off, Of course, we got the music aspect about her. Neptune rules music, which is good. She raps. You got Uranus up high with the Neptune, so very musical, very musical. Okay, now she has a grand square going on. Okay, all right, so we got Neptune right here. We got Uranus right here. We got the moon right here, 20 degrees of Aries. So, you got Neptune and Uranus squaring the moon. And then down here, you got all of that. You got the moon squaring what? Mars, okay, down here in the fourth house. Now, it is a separating aspect. Okay, the moon is separating from Mars. It is a separating aspect. However, as you can see, Mars is in its fall. Okay, and we've dealt with a lot of other people in the music industry, a lot of other rappers with this particular astrological design, and it's not good. Okay, because they have anger issues. So look at the sun. The sun is in Libra at 18 degrees. The sun is in its fall in Libra. So we got two planets in its fall here. All right. So you got a grand square going on right here. So Mars is squaring the sun. So we know that Cardi B, she does have a quick temper because of her Aries ascendant. Okay. Then her moon is in Aries, which is Mars ruled. Okay. And of course, it is squaring Mars. So, and like I said, if you don't have conflict resolution skills in a relationship, of course, the relationship is going to fail. Okay. Now, I'm not blaming all of this on Cardi B. That's not what I'm doing here because actually, once we look at the Offset's chart, we're going to realize that it was mostly him anyway. So, but as you can see, her son is in the seventh house. So that's why she loves relationships. She loves being in a relationship. Now, maintaining it is a totally different story. Okay. With someone who has a grand square with the sun in the seventh house, is very difficult to maintain a relationship. Okay. Um, and, you know, getting married is very difficult to get married with this astrological design. Um, but the reason she did get married because she had some trines that saved her. So I've dealt with clients that had a grand square just like this, and they were they were unable to get married. Okay, they were unable to sustain a relationship, and the reason why was because they didn't have trines to save them. Okay, even when trying to match make them with the right person, the correct person, they will always find a way to sabotage the relationship because of that grand square they had with, the seventh house, the sixth house. I'm sorry, the seventh house, the fourth house, the 10th house, and the first house. Now, one thing about these houses, these are angular houses. Okay, so any planet found in those houses are considered strong, or as the ancients say, accidentally dignified. So these are very strong planets. You got the malefic planets in the houses. You also got um, the good planets in the houses. So it's all about balancing that energy, and it's very difficult to balance a cardinal square, grand square like that. Okay, because it's all about change. It's constantly changing. Well, it's all about action. Okay, it's not immutable, but this is all about action oriented. Okay, because cardinal signs are all about action oriented things. So conflict resolution, I would suggest for always learn how to handle conflict. Learn how to tell the truth during the conflict. Okay, with Neptune up there, Neptune, of course, rules lies. Um, sometimes it's very difficult to be honest, okay, with this particular design, especially when it's squaring the sun and it's also squaring the moon and then it's squaring Mars. And then you got the anger issue going on. Okay. So, you know, a lot of things about her, Offset, he really had to endure, okay? Because it's not easy enduring someone with a lot of anger issues or, you know, argumentative issues, or don't know how to resolve conflict. All right, so they let their anger get the best of them. They let their emotions get the best of them. So it was kind of very difficult. And the reason she kind of really stuck with him was she's looking at it like this. She's looking at it like, God damn, he's the only guy that can deal with me, you know, because, you know, it's very hard to find, you know, individuals that can embrace this particular astrological design, okay, this astrological pattern that she has. So that's why she took him back, because she's looking at it like, man, he's like the only guy that can deal with me. It's very difficult to find someone that can, you know, really deal with her. Okay, especially with a grand square of this nature. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, Juno right here is at 6 degrees of Cancer, so that's really good. She doesn't have any retrograde, bad retrograde, you know, planets going on, other than Saturn is retrograde, but um, and that kind of it puts a damper on her relationships, the longevity of them. But she has a nice little trine from Juno to, you know, to Mercury, okay, in her seventh. So this is why she's able to get married. This is why she's able to think about marriage the way she does, because Mercury and Juno are trying, which is good. That is a beautiful thing. So that's why she wants marriage. That's why she, you know, loves relationships. Now, of course, they just broke up, and what is she focusing in on? Herself, right? That's that moon right there in Aries. So that's all about focusing in on the self. Okay. So she just went back to what she feels. Okay. And that moon is all about emotions, how she feels. Okay. So I say all this to say that this kind of folds into their relationship, dealing with conflict resolution and and how, you know, he wasn't able to, you know, keep dealing with, you know, what was going on with her. Okay, so what tends to happen is that you know, Offset. Let's just look at his chart. What tends to happen is that the guy, he's like, well, you know what, I really I'm really urging for something different. I'm really urging to escape from that, right? So look at Offset's chart. We don't have his birth time, but we know he was born December 14th, 1991. um so just looking at his chart by itself, and his astrological aspects and design, we know he's not built for love. Um, he's really not built for relationships. And also, hey, speaking of Mercury retrograde, he was born with Mercury retrograde. Okay, so you know his thinking about all about his thinking of the whole philosophy about freedom is a little bit different than hers. Okay, you know, Sagittarius is it's all about freedom, philosophy, um, also just, you know, shooting for the future. But in this case, with his Mercury retrograde, his thinking is all not there. Okay, I mean, you know, sometimes you know it's in complete opposition of his part of fortune here. So you know, sometimes he doesn't think straight. Okay, so um, it's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes he doesn't think clearly, you know, about what he's doing, especially when it comes to relationships. Okay. But he does have a nice trine with his Mercury. So that gives him power to, you know, you know, rap lyrics the way he does, which is real nice. He has a nice trine with Chiron. That's nice. Okay, that gives him ideas to really, do his best with the music. Now, as far as relationships are concerned, he does have luck with relationships, which is good. Look at his Juno. His Juno is a 9 degrees of Aquarius. That's that's unconventional relationships, but it's kind of dual. I mean, look at his part of fortune. His part of fortune is at 9 degrees of Gemini. That's dual, right? So that's two. So that's more than one. It's easy for him to get with more than one woman. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So, and that's the reason why it's really not good for him to be in relationships because his thinking is dual. It's all about more than one, you know, relationship, which is what unconventional. There goes the Juno in Aquarius. Okay, so very unconventional relationships. All right, so and the reason he doesn't really do good in it because his Venus is in complete square of Juno. Okay, when you got that going on, you really don't want to be married. Okay, Juno rules marriages and relationships, and Venus rules love. You got a complete square going on right here, along with Saturn. So even that by itself, okay, he doesn't feel comfortable. Okay, in a monogamous relationship. Okay, he doesn't feel good in a one-on-one relationship. It doesn't feel good to him. Okay, and it doesn't even seem right to him. Okay, because of his Sagittarius retrograde Mercury, also his Sag Sun. I mean, he feels restricted. And that's what Saturn is. Saturn, it makes him, it's making him feel restricted. His Venus is squaring Saturn, so it's making him feel restricted in the relationship. All right, so that's why he wants to free himself from it. Okay, so Sagittarius is all about freedom, right? So there you go. So just keep that in mind. As a matter of fact, um, let's see here. What type of aspect? Which I bet that's exactly what it's doing. Minus. Yeah, just what I thought. All right. So Juno is semi-squaring his sun. Okay, so right there, he wants to free himself from marriage. Okay, just that's just in his natal chart. He doesn't work good in marriages. Okay, so that's just kind of something to keep in mind. Okay, so they would have done well. Cardi B and him, they would have done well to be, really good friends with benefits, or just stayed girlfriend or boyfriend. That would have been really good for him, and it would have been good for her as well. But marriage is really not good for either one of them. Okay, as you can see, it's always one person that's kind of off with it. Now he does love deep. Okay, so his Venus is in Scorpio. That's deep love. So he does have love for her, but it's just not, you know, inducive for them to, be married. It's just not. All right. So now, are they compatible? Oh yeah. They have really good sexual chemistry. Um, let's just kind of compare the charts real quick. Really good sexual chemistry. I'm not going to make this video too long, but they did have really good sexual chemistry. Okay, I will say that. Um, of course, his Venus is in her seventh house. Really good thing. All right. So, and that's on top of Cardi B's Mercury. So sexual chemistry is good there. Um, communication is semi good. They just don't have good conflict resolution skills. I will say that. All right. And also, just to point this out, his Juno is also squaring her Mercury. All right, and Saturn. So in the seventh, so they should not be. together. They just shouldn't. Okay. So just keep that in mind. They did, get together. And the reason they did was because his Venus is trine, her Juno. Okay, so that's another thing. So I want to point this out. This is good too. So we just pointed out how his Juno is squaring her Venus, but his Venus is, trining her natal Juno. Okay, isn't that something? So you can see who wants to be in the relationship, right? She wants to be married with her Juno trining his Venus. Okay. But him, on the other hand, he does not want to be married to her with what? His Juno squaring her Venus. All right. So as you can see, the dynamics and the astrological design of both of them, they don't mix. Okay. So they're sexually compatible. Communication wise, yeah, they got some communication going on. They know how to be in the public eye, which is really good. But it's just that, together in the public eye, and that's good. They know how to make money together. They know how to put their money together really good. His part of fortune is in her second house. So I mean, that's real good. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people can, they don't work together good. Okay, but these two, they do work together good musically. But as far as relationships, they don't work together really good. Okay. Another thing to point out, his son is in complete opposition of of her south node. That's what I say about that communication. Sometimes they oppose each other. Okay. They oppose each other a lot. Okay. So and that's her communication part. All right. Now, as far as going into the future, yeah, that freedom and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, they like being, having that particular freedom together. But sometimes, Cardi B she just likes that one-on-one um, relationship dynamics, and the reason she loves that is because of all her planets, that stellium in her seventh house. Okay, that's the reason she loves the relationship dynamics. So she loves one-on-one relationships. He does not. All right. So just a little bit about them. The elephant in the room, Cardi B and Offset. We're gonna come back to it because it is Mercury retrograde. As you can see, things are happening. So we're gonna be back real soon. We're going to do a repeat of them just to see, look deeper into, their rise and fall. Okay. So, and we're going to look at some of the good things of a couple of other good people as well. All right. So, but like I said, just remember the difference between people is between their ears, and the difference between your present and future is information. And we will be back soon. Thanks.